What if I told you that two ordinary men in New Orleans were accused of something so horrifying, so unthinkable, that their names are still whispered in fear today? Beneath the flickering gas lamps and the echoing notes of a saxophone, a horror story was written in blood. Two brothers, John and Wayne Carter. By day they were just ordinary men, but when night fell, their names carried on the wind like a cursed melody, and soon people started to disappear. Bodies, drained of blood, became the whispers of the French Quarter. Panic spread like wildfire. Then one fateful night, the authorities forced their way inside, and what they found would turn stomachs and spark a legend that refuses to die. This is the legend of the Carter brothers, a tale that blurs the line between history and horror. But let me warn you, once you step inside this story, there's no turning back. Brace yourself, because the truth behind the Carter brothers isn't just a story. It's a nightmare buried in the heart of New Orleans, and once you hear it, you'll never forget it. Before we uncover the terror of the Carter brothers, you need to step back in time, to a New Orleans unlike any you've seen before. Not the neon-soaked Bourbon Street buzzing with tourists and oversized cocktails. No, this was the 1930s, a city caught between the old world and the new, where the air itself carried something unseen. Was it magic? A curse? Or something darker? Something no one dared name aloud? This was a city built on secrets, where folklore didn't just survive, it thrived. Voodoo queens wove spells in shadowed alleys. Street corners pulsed with whispered deals, the roll of dice echoing like an unspoken omen. And in the dim glow of gaslights, rumors spread like wildfire, twisting through the mist that crawled up from the Mississippi. But there was one whisper that sent a chill through even the bravest souls. A fear that something, someone, was hunting after dark. People vanished all the time in the French Quarter, runaways, drifters, lost souls swallowed by the night. But these were different. No bodies, no blood, no cries for help, just gone. But what did John and Wayne Carter hide behind their doors? And when the truth finally came out, no one would ever sleep soundly again. John and Wayne Carter looked ordinary, just two brothers working the docks, their hands rough from hauling cargo, their faces lost in the crowd. But something about them, something was always just a little off. No one could put a finger on it, not at first. Then one night, a girl stumbled into the streets of the French Quarter, barefoot, trembling, her skin deathly pale. She tried to scream, but only one word escaped, over and over, between ragged breaths: blood. When authorities stormed the Carters' home, the air inside was thick, suffocating, and then they saw them, bodies, limp, pale, draped over furniture like discarded dolls. Some twitched, barely clinging to life, their skin paper-thin, their veins hollow. And in the center of it all, John and Wayne Carter, motionless, silent, watching, their faces eerily blank, as if none of it mattered, as if they weren't human at all. The police arrested them on the spot, but what happened next? It didn't just confirm the horror. It shattered everything people thought they knew about life, death, and what lurked in between. The trial was swift. The evidence? Overwhelming. The sentence? Death. They were sentenced to death. A final breath. A last heartbeat. And then silence. By all accounts, that should have been the end. Justice served. Case closed. But this is New Orleans, a city where the dead don't always stay buried. The years passed, the legend faded, and then the dead stirred. The crypt where the Carter brothers had been sealed, shattered from the inside, not vandalized, not forced open. Something Someone had clawed their way free. No bodies, no remains, just an empty vault and fresh dirt scattered outside, as if something had crawled free. Then the whispers began again. Figures glimpsed in the dim glow of street lamps. The same clothes, the same faces, not older, not different, just watching, waiting, smiling. Had they escaped? Or had they never truly been human at all? Were they something else entirely? Another legend? Or something far more real? The Carters were executed, buried, forgotten, and yet they're still here, aren't they? Most ghost stories fade with time. But some refuse to die. You'd think that after nearly a century, the story of the Carter brothers would have faded into the past, right? Just another legend, passed around in dimly lit bars. A ghost story for thrill seekers. But here's the thing. People still whisper about them. A glimpse in a foggy alley. A shadow that lingers too long. A pair of piercing eyes staring back from the dark. Tourists, locals, even hardened skeptics have reported seeing them. Two men, eerily matching the brothers' descriptions, roaming the streets after dark. Same clothes, same piercing eyes, as if time had never touched them. Some say they were never human, that they walked among us hiding in plain sight, that they still do. It would explain a lot, why they never seemed to age, why their bodies were never found, why people still claim to hear soft footsteps behind them at night, only to turn around and see nothing but shadows. Some stories don't just refuse to die. They wait, lurking in the dark, watching, listening, waiting to be told again and again. The Carter brothers aren't just a piece of history. They never left. They are part of New Orleans itself. In the streets, in the whispers, in the shadows that stretch just a little too long at night. Were they killers? Vampires? A cautionary tale to keep wanderers from straying too far into the unknown. Maybe, maybe not. But one thing is certain. The past never stays buried. Not here, not in New Orleans. So what do you think? Were the Carter brothers simply killers? Or something far worse? Could they still be out there, watching from the shadows? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you believe. If this story made you glance over your shoulder even once, hit that like button. It lets me know you want more tales from the shadows. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because legends like this, they're only the start, and some stories you won't want to hear alone. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and whatever you do, if you find yourself alone in New Orleans after dark, keep walking, and don't look back.